Tell me who you are and what you do.
So I am Cassy. I am a portrait artist. I actually opened my first portrait studio when I was probably about 8 years old. I used to set up my Cabbage Patch Kids on little chairs. I would put blankets over there and pose them. And God bless my mom, she actually would develop the film every week and bring it home. But I've had a love for photography ever since I was a young child. I decided to make it my career about 10 years ago. I went to school for photography, and it's just been a passion of mine, ever since. To be able to tell someone's story visually and to give them a visual representation of who they are at this time in their life, to me, is just priceless. Well, when I was in school, I double majored in both portraiture and in photojournalism. For me, there was such a beauty in photojournalism because you're capturing life as it happens, and it can be raw and it can be emotional. I decided to focus on portraiture because with photojournalism, I get so passionate with the subject that I'm working with that I had a hard time kind of reining back my emotions when I was working with them. So to me, a natural portrait is like the ultimate pinnacle of both worlds. You know, to capture somebody in their element, who they are, is just emotionally moving. And then to be able to flip the camera and show them, this is who you are. Because when we look in the mirror, that's not necessarily the person we see. We see, the little crow's feet that are starting here. We see the double chin, or we see all those little things. And yeah, an amazing portrait is just, to me, it's just completely priceless. Right, go ahead and slide that back and drop that elbow down. Perfect. And now that I got you in position, I'm gonna have you shift just a little bit like this. So I'm gonna have you actually kind of bring your shoulders. Yeah. Perfect. I mean, in the beginning, it's always a little bit just getting the person comfortable, in front of the camera and helping them understand that I'm going to make them look fantastic, not, all those little things that they're bringing into the session with them. All those little things, we're gonna take care of that. We're just gonna sweep it away, and we're just gonna focus on being fun and showing your personality. But to me, a great portrait is not only, capturing something beautiful, but you get to see a little bit of that person. You get to know a little bit more about them, not just the surface. One of my instructors, I remember, he always used to say, the eyes are the window to the soul. And, we always used to joke and say how cheesy that was, but it's so true. When you can see a beautiful portrait of somebody and you look into their eyes, you know a little something about that person. Get you almost kind of the same position that you're in. The only difference is laying and kind of almost bringing the sheet up. So it's almost like you're kind of peeking out from the sheets. I don't know if there is an aha moment. I mean, I feel like every day, every shoot, I'm learning and growing and becoming more and wanting to do more. Getting into it, I kind of just you gotta do everything, you gotta do the babies, you gotta do the weddings, you gotta do all this. And I had been photographing this family for years. It was actually one of my first jobs. I had photographed their babies and everything, and the youngest daughter said, I want you to photograph my wedding. I'm I will photograph your wedding. I will do it. So as we were kind of talking and planning her day, I'd offered boudoir sessions forever, and I'd never had a bride take me up on one. And this guy was like, I want to do that. I'm like, really? She's like, yes. And I'm like, awesome, let's do it. So, in that passionate nature that I have, I just immersed myself in learning everything that I could about the style of boudoir and we met together, and she is a beautiful, beautiful girl, and she's so much like me. She has a hard time seeing that beauty, and she's very down to earth, you know, likes her hair in a ponytail. And so we met and did her session, and it was a life-changing experience. And it was probably the first time since I've been doing photography that I felt this is what I'm made for. This is what I was created for, because all of the things that I'd gone through in my life, everything had kind of led me to like that pinnacle as far as this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to work with women, and I'm supposed to help them see themselves in a way that they've never been able to see themselves before. Well, before, so when a client reaches out to me, the first thing I do is I invite them either to come to me for a consultation or do video consultation. I feel like that is so important, because they get to see me, and they get to see my face, and they get to hear me and understand me. And I am probably one of the goofier people you'll meet, and my husband has always told me, he's like, you take really good pictures, Cassy. He goes, but your gift is like when you get to talk to people, because I am like a very socially awkward person and I'm the wallflower. I'm the person in the corner, and I never want people to feel that way. So like the thing that I do, I just want to make sure that everybody feels comfortable and they feel included and they feel happy. So whether that's me falling off my stool while I'm photographing them or, making like bad dad jokes, I just like people to be happy. So that's always my goal, and beautiful images kind of come from that. So. And then give me a good laugh. And then actually kind of like throw your bag. Yeah, I remember you were good at that. Being kind of the wallflower, I don't find myself in front of the camera. I don't like to be photographed. I hate being photographed. It's really hard. And growing up, I kind of had some bullying going on when I was younger, and I was a different kid. Like, I was book smart, and some of those social behaviors I didn't get. So I got picked on quite a bit, and I bring all of that with me to my sessions. And I think women at any given time, whether they're like Miss America or the girl next door, everybody has probably had a little bit of that in their life. And for me, bringing that to the table and helping them know, I've been there, I understand what you're going through, and I can make that better. I tell people I'm a hugger, and when people come in, they're like, oh, I'm not so much into hug, but every time they leave, I get a hug, just because, they see themselves in a way that they aren't able to, for the first time. I can't tell you how many times women say, I finally get to see what my husband sees or what so-and-so sees when they look at me. I can, for the first time, believe what they're telling me when they say, I think you're beautiful. Because I see that. And, it's so easy to focus on all those little flaws that we see in ourselves, and instead of looking at the big picture. And I get to show women that big picture, and they get to go home seeing that, and hopefully a little piece of that whenever they need it. Every time I work with a woman, there's that little girl inside of me, that every single time I get to kind of pat that little girl on the back and say, you know what, you are enough. And you just got to share with somebody else and show them that they are enough. I think for boudoir, my favorite thing is just knowing I can change how they view themselves. I can spend an hour and a half with someone and maybe erase some of those negative thoughts, that they felt or thought about themselves. Maybe I'm not out there changing the world, but I'm changing one person's world, and who knows what they're gonna do. And there's not a lot of people that get to do that, bring a little joy into someone's life. And it's, I don't know, it's pretty amazing. I am Cassy, and I am a portrait artist.